Good morning, kindergarten, first and second graders. We have been doing our one book, one school and focusing on cultures that are represented by people in our school. So we have read stories from the Hispanic culture because we have Hispanic students. We have read stories from the African American culture because we have African American students. And today, well, actually this week, we're going to read stories from the Appalachian culture. Because basically most of the people in this area who live here have ancestors who came from Appalachia, which is the mountain area of eastern Kentucky. Montgomery County, where we live, is still actually considered to be an Appalachian county. So we're going to read two books this week that focus on the Appalachian culture. The first one is one of my favorites. It's called That Book Woman. And one of the reasons that I like this is because it's about a horseback librarian. And I think that if I had lived in an earlier time period, I think I would have wanted to be a horseback librarian. I think that it would have been an amazing thing to do. So basically, these horseback librarians took books to people who lived in the mountains and had no way of getting books of their own. So many people learned to read simply because these horseback librarians took the time to take books up into the mountains. You're going to notice that the way that these people talk in here sometime is a little different. It might sound very country to you, and sometimes I might even have to stop and explain what they were really trying to say. But it's basically the way that Appalachian people talked. And still to this day, a lot of Appalachian people talk in this slang kind of way. So, my folks and me, we live way up as up can get. So high, we hardly sight a soul, that means they hardly see anybody, 'cept hawks, a-wingin' in the sky, and critters hid among the trees. So they live so far up in the mountains that they hardly see any people. All that they really see are hawks flying in the sky and animals that live in the forest. My name is Cal, and I am not the first one, nor the least one neither. So he's not the oldest child, and he's not the youngest child. He has older brothers and sisters and younger brothers and sisters. But I am the oldest boy, and I can help Pap with the plowing, and I can fetch the sheep when they take a wander. So Cal is the oldest boy. He only has older sisters, and those are some of his jobs. He helps to plow, and when the sheep wander off and get lost, it's his job to go look for them and bring them back. And I can bring the cow home too, come evening time, which is right handy, seeing as how my sister Lark would keep her nose atwixt the pages of a book, daybreak to dusky dark, if Mama would allow. The readin'est child you ever did see, that's what Pap says. So Lark, his sister, she loves books. While Cal's out working, she sits on the porch with her nose between the pages of a book from sunrise to sunset. And Pap says she's the readingest kid he ever saw. Not me. I was not born to sit so stony still a-staring at some chicken scratch. And I do not fancy it one bit when Lark plays teacher. The onlyest school a jillion miles back down the creek. And even Lark can hardly spread her wings and fly. So now she aims to school us herself. But me, I am no scholar boy. That's why I am the first to hear the clippity-clop and spy the sorrel mare, red as clay. I am the first to know the rider is no man at all, but a lady wearing breeches for all the world to see. So Cal says, I need to be working. I have too much energy to just sit still and read books all the time. I don't like it when Lark tries to be my teacher. The only school that we have is too far away for us to go. But not me. I don't want to go to school, Cal says. He wants to work. And then one day he sees a red horse coming up. He actually hears it coming up the side of the mountain. And the person riding it is a woman, but she's wearing pants. And women at that time typically only wore dresses. So he finds that very odd. Of course, we make that stranger kindly welcome, and she's friendly as can be. And after sips of sassy tea, she lays her saddlebag upon the table, and what spills out might just as well be gold, the way Lark's eyes shine penny bright, and the way her hands, they won't keep still, reaching out to grab that treasure. So if you look, you can barely see that the treasure in the bag is books, because the lady is a horseback librarian. So they give her sassafras tea. They call it sassy tea. And Lark is very excited to have new books. Now, what the lady brings is sure no treasure, not to me, but books. Would you believe? A passel of books she's packed clear up the mountainside. A hard day's ride and all for naught, I reckon. For if she aims to sell her wares just like the tinker man who travels round with pots and pans and such, it's but a plain and simple fact. We have no greenbacks here, no shiny coins to spend, leastways not on old dumb books. So he's surprised that this woman has carried all of those books all the way up the side of the mountain on a horse. And he says, but she's wasted her time, because if she's up here selling books the way that the tinker man travels around and sells pots and pans and supplies, then she's in the wrong house, because he says we have no money. We can't buy any books because we have no money. Do you think she's selling the books? Do you think she wants money? Well, Pap, he takes one look at Lark and clears his throat. A trade, he says. A poke of berries for one book. My hands double fist behind my back. I yearn to speak, but daren't. It's the very poke I picked for pie, not for books. So a poke is another name for a bag. So Pap, he thinks she wants money for these books too, and he said, I don't have any money, but I'll trade you a poke of berries, a sack of berries, if you'll let my daughter have one book from your bag. To my surprise, the lady shakes her head real firm. She will not take a poke of berries, nor a mess of greens, nor anything Pap names to trade. These books are free, free as the air. Not only that, why 2 weeks to the day, she will come again and swap these books for more. So just like a regular library, they get the books, they get to keep them for so long, and then she'll come back and trade them for more new books. Now me, I do not care one hoot for what that book woman has carried around, and it would not bother me at all if she forgot the way back to our door. But here she'll come, right through the rain and fog and cold. That horse of hers sure must be brave, I reckon. Comes on a time that the world turns white as Grandpap's beard. The wind, it shrieks like bobcats do deep inside the dark of night. So here we sit, tucked around the fire, and no thought to the howdy-doos of this day. Why, even the critters of the wild will keep a hid come a snow like this. So up in the mountains, they get a lot more snow sometimes than people who live in the flatlands do. So it's wintertime and the snow is deep and it's freezing cold. But sakes alive, we hear a tap, tap, tap up on the window glass, and there she be, wrapped tip to toe. She makes her trade right through the crack to keep us folks from catching cold. When Pap bids her stay the night, she only shakes her head. My horse will see me home, she says. So the bookwoman shows up, bringing them books even in that blizzard of a storm, and she won't even come inside. She knows that her horse knows the way back. I stand a spell to watch that bookwoman disappear, and thoughts they go a-swirling round inside my head, just like the whirly flakes outside our door. It's not the horse alone that's brave, I reckon, but the rider too. And all at once I yearn to know what makes that bookwoman risk catching cold, or worse. So he said, I've always thought her horse was brave, but gosh, she must be brave too. And what is so special about all of those books that she's willing to come riding out in a snowstorm like this to bring them to people? I pick a book with words and pictures too and hold it out. Teach me what it says. And Lark, she does not laugh or even tease, but makes a place, and quiet-like, we start to read. So Lark wants to teach him to read, and now he's kind of interested. Pap says it's written in the signs how long or short the winter stays. This year, the signs they all foretold of deepest snow, of cold eternal. And even though most days wear tight as toes pinched into boughten shoes, I do not mind. A puzzlement, I know, but true. So people say it's written in the signs. There's old-timers who believe that, like, you can tell how bad a winter's going to be by how much black you see on a caterpillar, or by different things. If you cut open a persimmon, whether you like what the little seed on the inside looks like. It kind of looks like a fork or a spoon. So the signs told Papa that winter was going to be long and hard this year. And Cal says they're all packed inside the house like your toes are packed inside the shoes. But he doesn't care. And he said, I know, that's weird. It's a puzzle because he's used to wanting to be outside all the time. But he's found reading now. And so he doesn't mind being in the house. It's nigh on spring before that bookwoman can stop to visit a spell. And Mama makes a gift, the only precious thing she can, her recipe for berry pie, which is the best grub earthly. Not much, I know, for all your trouble, Mama says, and then her voice goes low with pride, for making 2 readers out of 1. So spring comes, the bookwoman's back with more books. Mama says, I can't afford to give you a thank you, but I'm going to bake you a pie, because you've made 2 readers out of 1. So not only did she make Lark a reader, but now she's made Cal a reader too. I duck my head and wait until the very last to speak my mind. Wish there was something I could gift you too. That bookwoman turns to look at me with big dark eyes. Come here, Cal, she says real gentle. Read me something. I come close. I open up the book I'm holding, a new one brought this very day. Just chicken scratch, I used to figure, but now I see what's truly there, and I read a little out. That's gift enough, she says, and smiles so big it makes me smile right back. So Cal says to her, I wish I could give you something back as a gift too. And she says, if you'll read a little bit to me, that's all the gift I need. And now Cal can read. And so he reads it to her, and it makes the book lady smile. And there's Cal and Lark. Okay, so book ladies, book women on horseback were really a part of Appalachia. And here in Kentucky, the Appalachian regions of Kentucky, they really had horseback librarians. So see if you can get your parents to help you look up a picture of a horseback librarian, or Google and try to find a couple of facts about horseback librarians. They were really fascinating, brave, tough women who took that job of delivering books to the people in the mountains who never got them. And I will be reading one more Appalachian book to you guys later on this week. I'll see you then.